Good afternoon, Facebook. What's happening? Coming to you from the new setup here. And I'm going to record episode 39 of the Seb Rusk Show. It's not going to be a long episode, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I always say that, and then I go on a rant. But a few things. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about on this episode. I want to continue the conversation about storytelling. I've been doing a lot of talks about storytelling as of late, and how utilizing tools like podcasts and videos and Facebook Live videos, things of that nature, really help you tell that story, really extract the story out and help people better understand and connect with you at a deeper level. And then I'm doing that by leading by example. I create content just like this. It's not easy to just stop in the middle of the day and allocate time to jump on Facebook Live and start having a conversation. But when you realize it is, in fact, about providing as much value as you possibly can to your community, then you really start to see things through a different lens and start to ask yourself, how can I be more in service with my content and the value that I'm providing? So, like my good friend Brian Fanzo says, Social Fans is his handle, by the way. He says, just push the damn button. And I couldn't agree with that more. We have so many reasons why not. The reasons why are readily available too. So for those of you tuning in and joining me here, behind me is my faux brick wall. New setup here. And if you're wondering, what do you mean record a podcast? So what's happening is I've got this mic connected to my laptop with GarageBand open, and it just records away. And then when we're done, we're done. Then my team will go back in and chop up whatever needs to get chopped up and edited out of there. And voila, we've got a podcast episode. Now, technically, I could take this archive of this Facebook Live and just use the audio from the iPad, hope that it picks up decently, and just send that to my team to be edited for a podcast episode. But I figured if I'm already sitting at my desk with an iPad in front of me, my computer's open, my mic's already got a boom right here, I can listen and monitor to the recording so I know what it sounds like. You got to be a little, coordinated with this whole deal, because I'm talking to my iPad, which is recording a live video, and I'm capturing everything and monitoring it through here that's going directly to GarageBand. So, in case you were wondering, quick little podcast hack: if you get any type of video that you do that's at least 7 or 8 minutes, you can pull the audio off of that video and clean it up, put your intro and outro on there, and create a podcast episode for yourself. Any live talks that I do, I try to record on Facebook Live. I'll just put a selfie stick up with my phone at the nearest chair or table, or I'll convince someone to hold the camera and record for me. So that way I have, once I'm done recording live, I can save the archive. Obviously, I've got the archive. I can then pull the audio from it and turn it in to a podcast episode. So thanks for joining me. I don't know what you're doing right now. I don't know where you're at, where you're located, but I sure do appreciate you taking time out of your busy Tuesday to tune in for a couple minutes. I hope that you're walking away from this video. Maybe you're listening to this as the podcast, which I hope you are. The goal is for you to walk away with at least one or two things that you didn't show up with today, knowing about storytelling, about podcasting, or about leading by example. And I don't want to brag or boast, if you will, about leading by example, but I mean, hello, here we are. I'm on Facebook Live, engaging with my Facebook community to a certain extent. I'm not jumping on and liking comments and commenting back. I'm primarily focused on being able to capture a podcast episode while delivering value to my Facebook community. I believe Facebook Live is in an in an unpredictable space right now. Those that are my peers in the digital marketing and social media space seem to think that live has taken a bit of a dip, and I think that it has too, as Facebook continues to tweak the algorithm to improve the overall user experience. Again, Facebook just wants to create solutions that are in the best interest of the user. So television news, local news, radio, breaking news, anything live, award shows, concerts, these are all things that we like to consume as human beings. Well, we also live in a very convenience, I want it now, I want it yesterday, I'll pay $40 for a whatchamacallit bar society and world. Well, with technology continuing to increase and make our lives even easier and easier and easier and easier, it's only our need to consume is only expanding. Thanks, Owen. So if you're listening to the podcast, I'm talking to a few people on Facebook Live, so not making it awkward. I probably should make a habit of that, though, because my podcast is sort of like, who's Owen, dude? You were talking about podcast. Listen, let's just square a couple things away real quick. It's my show. And if I say look squirrel, well, then there may or may not be a squirrel up there. So anyhow, and by the way, great example, when someone gives you a compliment on a Facebook Live or one of your videos or what you're doing and you don't respond and you just like the comment, well, you're being grossly negligent to that community. You need to say, oh, I don't know, thank you. It's very, very important. Back to what I was talking about, which I completely forgot, and that's the downside to engaging with your Facebook audience while recording a podcast episode, is you could find yourself deep down in that Facebook Live podcast recording rabbit hole. So we're just going to start right from the top, which is I'm here today to talk to you about what I've been talking to a lot of people about lately, mainly through the keynote talks I've been delivering. So if you're a meeting planner or an event planner that's listening to this and you're looking for a dynamic tornado of enthusiasm to either be the MC for your event or to speak on the topic of digital storytelling with podcasts, holler at your boy. When it's your show, you can do things like that too. They're called shameless plugs. I'm not pitching you. I'm just letting you know what I do. I have no idea who's watching this right now. No clue. And I don't know who would watch this because it goes to YouTube after this, and then it gets shared to multiple different outlets on Facebook, and then I turn it into a podcast episode. So stranger things have happened. I became the MC for Digital Marketers Traffic and Conversion Summit because I sent Ryan Dice a tweet, and I didn't even know who Ryan Dice was. I responded to an ad from Digital Marketer for Traffic and Conversions. I followed Digital Marketer on Twitter, and Twitter recommended that I follow the CEO and co-founder of Digital Marketer, Ryan Dice. So I did, and then I just sent him a quick tweet, and he got back to me right away, and I quickly learned what a total badass he was. He hired me on the spot, and the rest is history. So social media listening, social media conversations, social media left hooks and right hooks are very, very effective when properly executed. So I've been talking about storytelling lately. I've had a few local gigs here, a few organizations and groups and associations and whatnot. And by the way, as a professional speaker, having done this for the past 9 years, and I'm just getting started, I allocate 12 events a year that I do pro bono. That means free. So if you're looking to get in your speaking game, I get asked a lot, Sebastian, how do I get booked to speak? How do I become a keynote speaker? And I tell them one simple answer: speak as much as you possibly can, wherever you can. I don't care if it's show and tell, PTA meetings, associations, chambers, councils, organizations. Just get out there and speak. But make sure you're talking about something that has some value. Don't pitch an audience. Make sure you're showing up to tell your story. And then help people understand how your story helped your business become what it is. So, for example, I started my podcast in 2011. as a hobby. Then I stopped. Then a year and a half went by and I started it again. And then the app I was using that I absolutely loved went belly up. So I stopped recording my podcast again. And that's a great deal of thunder in the background. That's not a sound effect. And my golden doodle is about to lose his noodle over here because dogs don't like thunder. So if you hear a dog bark, that's why. And that, my friends, is what makes podcasts fun. A completely unwelcomed sound of thunder in the background. I could have had like a key, could have been like landing the plane on a key point with that thunder. But I do 12 pro bono events a year, and I did a few back-to-back local ones here for Chambers as of late. And I brought the thunder. Funny enough, the guy that introduced me said, Sebastian is here today to bring the thunder. So there you go. You see how that works out? And the topic, and you can find it on YouTube, it was for the Greater Kendall Business Association. It's on my YouTube page, youtube.com/SocialBuzzTV. And storytelling starts, obviously, with your story. So how do you tell your story? Well, you sit down and you outline exactly where you started. Where did the story begin? Good, bad, or indifferent? And how did it lead you into present day where you're at right now? I often tell my story where it backs up to 2010. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired and frustrated. And I decided that I was going to do something about it, that I had been in the social media space since the inception of 2004, and I was going to figure out a way to monetize this. There was a lot of buzz around social media, SocialBuzzTV. I conceptualized that name over dinner with a mere stranger who encouraged me to launch a YouTube channel. I rode my skateboard and bus around town. I started networking and just telling people I'm going to launch the biggest, baddest social media company on the planet. It's going to educate people about social media. It's going to share social media content, and it's going to help you better understand what you don't know that you don't know about social media. I parlayed that into networking events and then joining other people for networking events, and then next thing you know, people are knocking on my door because they say, hey, listen, I've seen your events, I've been to your events, I've seen your content, I've seen your bow tie, I see what you do. Can we have a conversation about you wearing our product, using our product, drinking our water? And that's what really started to happen. Knock on the door, Perry Ellis with 5 bow ties from their new spring collection. And the reason that happened was because I had a conversation with the marketing person for Perry Ellis because of a picture I posted on the beach one morning that he thought looked like another Perry Ellis ad. And he then told me that the spring collection is going to be coming out soon. And I said, I hope there's bow ties involved. He said, how'd you know? I said, I didn't. But bow ties are my game. So this brand has continued to evolve over the past 8 years of SocialBuzzTV, and me being able to not even purposely, but I have intentionally launched my personal brand as a speaker, as an event MC, as a digital storyteller, and an influencer. And then my brand is a new media outlet that provides content for the world, and it also creates content through our agency for businesses and brands alike. So storytelling starts with your story. Now, next step after you've figured out what your story is and how it's led to present day and what you're doing or what you're going to be doing, actually scratch what you're going to do. No one cares what you're going to do or what you've done. They care about what you're doing. So how does your story relate to present day and where it's led you? For me, if I go back to 8 years ago, it was a bus pass skateboard networking events and selling people on the dream. Then their dream started to unfold as people started to pay me to do things that I had no idea people would pay me to do, like set up their YouTube channel or create content for them or help them create content or teach them to use a flip cam back in the day before smartphone technology came over and this became the new camera. That's when it really started to click for me. Is when my phone started shooting HD video. I thought, whoa, this is a game changer. I got mad love for videographers. I really, really do. However, they're not the most cost-effective way to crank out consistent video content on a weekly basis. Small snippet, high quality content. I figured out a hack. The hack was iPhones and iPads with a studio gear that connects to them. I found the hack. And then there, just scale the agency out. And we've got clients across town that we create buzz videos for. Attorneys, chiropractors, general contractors, local businesses, yoga studios, yoga instructors, health coaches, breathing coaches, you name it. So, and that leads me right into, and I'm going to wrap things up because I'm well under 15 minutes, which is that's just a darn tootin' miracle, I tell you. But I lead by example, by doing exactly what my boy Brian Fanzo encourages people to do on stages across the world as he shares his message. And that is just press the damn button, right? That means pick up your phone. You probably already have it open anyway. It's probably already in your hand anyway. Open up the audio recorder, hit record and start talking. Open up the video camera, put it on a selfie stick, hit record. Just push the button. Get started today, right? And if you can't, then hire somebody who's going to push you to do it. That's the only way it's going to get done. Because the only thing working against you right now is time. So you've got a story to create if you don't already have one. And if you've already got one, you're being negligent not to tell it. Telling that story is easy. When you pull out your phone and just push the damn button, the audio recorder on your smartphone, hit record. Start talking for 10 minutes. Open up a video. Stop the story in your head of what you think you look like on video or what you sound like on audio. You are not the one consuming your content. FYI, you're not. I know you like to think you are. You want to be your biggest critic. Everyone gets bogged down on these the mundane details of, I had the same shirt on during the video. Who cares? You shot all the same videos in the same day. It was a striped shirt series. Don't get bogged down in the details. Lead by example. You know, if you're in the insurance industry, health insurance industry, maybe you sell health insurance plans to people. Lead by example in your industry by creating content and saying, yeah, I'm a top rep with the company. I'm a top producer with the company. And you lead by example because you don't just consume the marketing the company does for you. You're simultaneously figuring out a way to create content and build your brand while bringing business in. I just had a conversation with a young immigration attorney this morning. I visited another B&I chapter here in Miami. And this individual said, I'm just getting started. I'm working with a larger firm. I'm focused on immigration law, yada, yada, yada. We're getting into that. I hear a lot of that. We're getting into that. You know, the social media stuff, we're kind of getting into that. I mean, hello, people. This is 2018. Everywhere you turn, we are so digitally addicted and brands are so engulfed and your life is so layered into the world of the digital space. You consume so much of it. So I'm just trying to find the disconnect where you think it may not be important for your business. Now, hear me clear. I am not here to convince you that you need to be adapting to the digital landscape that is social media. This stuff's been around for 15 years, and chances are it's not going to go anywhere. And if it does, it's just going to be the next best thing. But Mark Zuckerberg is one smart human being, and he's got a team around him with some of the smartest individuals on the planet. And they have created a platform called Facebook for us to connect with our friends, family, and the world, and for businesses to level the playing field to be able to actually compete and develop new business and relationships in the same atmosphere. Leading by example. If no one in your industry is doing things like Facebook live shows and podcast episodes and buzz videos, if none of that's happening in your industry, it's a great indication that you might want to get on it. Lead by example. Listen, podcasts suck if you don't know what you're doing. Actually, social media sucks if you don't know what you're doing. Podcasts suck if you don't have one. And for those of you listening to the podcast, I'm rocking the Podcast Sucks t-shirt right now. And by the way, for those of you tuned into the podcast, if you've got questions about telling your story through a podcast, we've got a solution that helps individuals and brands just like yours go from zero to launched with their very own podcast. So if you want to schedule a call with one of our podcast launch specialists, just head on over to podcastsuck.com. That's podcasts, plural. Podcastsuck.com. You can schedule a time to speak with a podcast launch specialist and find out if your idea or your story is even relevant to a podcast. Maybe it's not. Maybe you need to be doing buzz videos. Maybe you need to be going live. Maybe you don't belong on video at all. But I'll be the judge of that. Our team will be the judge of that. We're very honest with helping people understand that you need to get in where you fit in. Not everyone's a fit for live. My goodness, have you seen some of these live videos that go out? Anyhow, I'm not giving any specific examples. You just do you, boo. Okay? So, thanks again for tuning in. Episode 39 of just having a quick conversation while I go live on Facebook about storytelling, how launching a podcast, creating weekly buzz videos could really help you tell that story, extract that story. You never know who's going to see the video. You never know who's going to listen to the podcast. You never know who's going to watch the replay of your Facebook live video. Listen, remember, things aren't slowing down at all in this digital space. They're only getting faster. They're getting more expensive. You're increasing your learning curve that every day you continue to put your digital strategy on the back burner. Or it blows my mind the amount of people that I talk to on a daily basis that do not have a Facebook page set up for their business. It blows my mind. I'm not sure if you are aware or not, but Facebook is free. Free, like it doesn't cost anything to set up a Facebook page for your business, nothing. And if you wanted to attract, 2,000 to 3,000 people within a square 2 miles of your local business, you could do that for $10 or $15. Right now you can. The Facebook ad platform is grossly underpriced right now. Grossly underpriced. Why? Because it's not mainstream yet. When large brands start taking their TV and radio budget and start just completely going all in on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, it's a whole different ball game, ladies and gentlemen. The times right now, the stuff's been around for 15 years yet we're still getting started. It's still in its infancy. What does that tell you? You're almost like first mover's advantage. In fact, if no one in your industry is creating content like a Facebook Live video or a podcast or buzz videos on a weekly basis, if no one's doing any of that in your industry, ding, 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 that may be a great indication that it's time for you to get started. It might be a great indication to pick up your phone, pull out that audio recorder. Actually, go to Amazon real quick, buy the lavalier mic that hooks into an iPhone. It's like $12. Plug that in, because everyone loves good audio. Plug that in and start having a conversation when you're in the car for an extended amount of time. Upload it. See how people respond. That's called a podcast. Did you know that? Some people were confused. I had someone tell me the other day, God bless them, they said, so I saw your podcast on YouTube the other day. Now, technically, that could happen because we do take audio and just put an image up and create a video, if you will, air quotes, video, and then post it to YouTube for SEO purposes. So that technically could happen. But in the context of this conversation, I clearly understood that this individual did not have a thorough understanding of what a podcast is. So, any questions? Hit me up, srusk at SocialBuzzTV.com. That's my email address. If you want to schedule a time to speak with myself or somebody on my team about getting your podcast launch, you can do that at podcastsuck. That's plural, podcastsuck.com. All this information for those of you tuning into the podcast right now, all of this information, links, and important information that I've talked about in this episode are included in the show notes If you're wondering what show notes are, that's exactly what you see when you pull this episode up in iTunes. It gives you the title of the show, and then it gives a description of the show, and there's live links in there that you can go. So another tip for those of you tuning in on either the podcast or Facebook Live, you can, in fact, put live links and all the information you need. But remember, the title of the episode is what people are searching and seeing, and they're getting updates. The Seb Rusk Show on Social Buzz On Air has another episode live, and that title that pops up as a pop notification. Major key. Major. Was that the DJ Khaled accent? Anyhow. All right, friends. Well, that does it for this episode of the Seb Rusk Show. I'm Sebastian Rusk, signing off from our studio in a very rainy Miami. We'll talk to you next time. And we're clear on the podcast side. So I do this, again, to lead by example. Is really what it's all about. Because if I go on here and I just take time to have a conversation with you and talk about things that I feel are important, and while recording, see, it actually motivates. I think I've said this before. It motivates me to create a podcast episode if I'm going live already and speaking to all of you lovely people. Why? Because I'm already talking to you. So cutting the conversation short, or not knowing what to say, or talking about a bazillion topics under the moon, which I very well could do, but all under the context of storytelling, all under the context and umbrella of podcast. Does that make sense? So as I'm having this conversation, I set things up like GarageBand and my mic and headphones and whatnot, and I talk to you for a little bit, and then we go live, and then I still talk to you for a little bit, and then I hope the dog doesn't bark, and then we heard a little bit of thunder, and just mixing it up a little bit. But the most important thing that I did today, listen to me very carefully, the most important thing that I did today was that I took my friend Brian Fanzo's advice, and I pressed the damn button, okay? And I got 2 things accomplished, actually 3 things accomplished. I went live with you lovely people. I recorded a new podcast episode, and I have a new piece of video content because the archive of this is going on my YouTube channel. That's right. You see how that works? I got 3 things accomplished, 3 content goals accomplished. So if you have questions about better telling your story through social media, I don't care if it's a podcast, if it's through Buzz videos, if it's through blogging, if it's through all the above, I can show you some hacks on exactly how that's done. Through what we do for our agency clients and the brands that I work with. So if you have any questions about that, hit me up. Thank you for your attentiveness. I am an MC. I should be able to spit those big words out. I'm going to go work on my big words. You let all this sink in for a minute and hit me up if you have any questions. Again, my email address is srusk@SocialBuzzTV.com. You can just message me here on Facebook and we can figure that out. If you want to schedule a time to talk about launching your podcast, go ahead and do that at podcastsuck.com, podcastsuck.com, and that link will be here in the comments. So yeah, those are a bunch of shameless plugs. Another benefit of being able to just take a few minutes and push the damn button is that it's your show and you can talk about whatever you want. All right, friends, I'll talk to you next time.